The Jesse Kelly Show. Let's have some fun. On a Monday, a magnificent Monday, Medal of Honor Monday. I'm so excited to be here. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We are going to discuss many things tonight. We're going to discuss revolutionaries, communist revolutionaries. Pete Hegseth took one down, and it's a very good thing. We're going to talk about that actually in the open. What's Chuck Schumer talking about? J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, wannabe president, said something pretty revealing about how these people think. A scandal that wasn't treated as if it was a big scandal, not a big enough one. Yes, I'll talk about the helicopter crash. Trump says he's going to weigh in on the Cornyn Paxton race. All that, emails, so much more. And of course, I think I already mentioned it, Medal of Honor Monday is about an hour from now. But first, I want to begin here. And I think, I hope this will help all of us, myself included, understand the task we have laid out before us. All right? So here it is. And you're just going to have to stay with me. Don't let your eyes glaze over. Stay with me for a couple minutes. I'm starting the Jesse Kelly Burger restaurants tomorrow. I'm actually not, by the way. This is just an analogy. But tomorrow they start. And let's say over the next 10 years, we open 20 Jesse Kelly Burger franchises all across the country. From New York to LA, we got 20 of them. And it's a prosperous company. Of course it would be. Serve it. What, Chris? Serving world famous Jesse Kelly burgers, we would make a fortune. And so eventually we'd make so much money, all these locations. We start a corporate office. We'll headquarter it right here where I live in the Houston area. We have an office building. Okay, you with me? So now we have a burger company, nationwide, corporate office, all these satellite locations. Now, through negligence on my behalf, Chris probably screwed something up. We hire the wrong CEO. And this CEO has a thing, you see. This CEO only wants to work with people who have green eyes. That's his priority. Green eyes. Green eyes are everything to him. And so when he's looking for somebody to do the finances, he's looking for only green eyes. He'll eliminate every other eye color. Remember, green eyes, I believe, I think it's the rarest eye color. So eliminating these people. Nope, you can't. Blue eyes, brown eyes, nope, nope, nope. Qualified people after qualified people. The people who are already hired inside of the company, no matter where they are. The green-eyed people get promoted. You got blue eyes, brown eyes, you're done. Toast. There's a ceiling on your promotion. And this CEO begins to implement this policy across the company. And it goes on for 5 years. For 5 years, he is promoting only the green-eyed people. He's hiring only the green-eyed people. Everyone else, they're quitting. They're getting fired. We're not placing a priority on the quality of the burgers, on better prices, on the cleanliness of the restaurant. It's just green. I don't care about the latest branch manager's profit loss numbers. What color are his eyes? Now, 5 years after taking over in his green-eyed policy, how are things working at Jesse Kelly Burger, Inc.? Well, they're not working well. And it's pretty obvious why they're not working well. We have made something that is unimportant the most important thing. We've lost so many qualified people because they had brown eyes or blue eyes or something like that. We've lost the qualified people we had. We're not bringing in new qualified people because, again, we're eliminating all the most common eye colors, sticking with only those green-eyed people. The company's profit is down. The quality of the product is down. We can't find anybody to make a decent burger because there aren't enough green-eyed people out there. Everything down, slow, steady, rot over the course of 5 years. That's what's happening at Jesse Kelly Burgers. Now, I want to talk about Susan Rice, Pete Hegseth, The United States of America, the American government, all of it. You know what Susan Rice's resume is? Well, here's just, I'll tell you what, I'll just read you her top paragraph from Wikipedia. An American diplomat, policy advisor, and public official. As a member of the Democratic Party, Rice served as the 22nd director of the United States Domestic Policy Council from 2021 to 23, as the 27th U.S. ambassador to the United Nations from 09 to 2013, and as the 23rd United States National Security Advisor from 2013 to 2017. And the story, the reason she's in the news today is Pete Hegseth just dumped her. Where did he dump her from? She was sitting on the Defense Policy Advisory Board at the Pentagon. I didn't mean she was there when Biden was there. Up until 5 minutes ago, she was still there at the Pentagon. Now, what does all this have to do with the green-eyed, stupid Jesse Kelly Berger thing? Well, we have to discuss how we got to a place of such rot as a country. Susan Rice, all those important positions, critically important leadership positions over the years. What kind of a woman is this? Well, I want you to listen to this. It's just a little snippet. I think it's 30 seconds, maybe a minute long. It's Susan Rice's voice. Tell me, when she was at the United Nations, when she was advising on national security issues, when she was advising on domestic policy issues, what do you think this woman was prioritizing?
Well, if you're a white male, Christian, cisgender, macho, MAGA man, you can be as dumb as a rock and be deemed qualified to serve as Secretary of Defense. That's apparently what we've learned from this episode. But let's also be clear. There's a serious point here. DEI has been used as a slur. Anybody who fits the mold of somebody who is not a white Christian cisgender male is by definition in this administration deemed inferior.
I'm going to play it again in a second because I want you to marinate on that because it matters so much for what we're about to talk about and just for understanding where we are. Why does it feel like things are breaking around us and broken around us? Why does it feel like things don't operate like they should? So many things. It's not just this specific thing or that specific thing. It feels like things are dying. It feels like things are breaking. Why doesn't this work like it used to? Why doesn't this operate the way it used to? This used to be quality. Now it's crap. It seems like we have idiots in charge of this. Have you ever said something like that? It seems like morons are running this now. Ever thought something like that? Said something like that? This isn't about Susan Rice specifically. So I'm going to play it for you again. And I want you to think about Jesse Kelly's Burgers and the green-eyed loving CEO. Susan Rice and people who think like this. They haven't been on the outskirts trying to worm their way in. They have occupied critical positions of power in this country for 2 decades now, top to bottom. Government positions at the Pentagon, National Security, Central Intelligence Agency, Federal Bureau of Investigation, IRS, EPA, set aside the government agencies. In the private sector, air traffic controllers, kind of in the news, wouldn't you say? And yes, CEOs, the world of finance, you name it. This kind of poisonous, sick, demonic thinking is not something that's on the outside looking in. It's not some hokey cultural issue that doesn't really matter. It is the priority of the people who run the critical systems of the United States of America. And for 20 plus years, these people have been anchoring themselves in every single critical position of power, spreading this poison and promoting this poison everywhere they can find it.
If you're a white male, Christian, cisgender, macho, MAGA man, you can be as dumb as a rock and be deemed qualified to serve as Secretary of Defense. That's apparently what we've learned from this episode. But let's also be clear. There's a serious point here. DEI has been used as a slur. Anybody who fits the mold of somebody who is not a white Christian cisgender male is by definition in this administration deemed inferior.
How did FEMA get to a place where we had a FEMA employee admit publicly, as she was going around finding out who needed aid, she skipped the homes with Trump flags? How could someone like that get into such a critical position at FEMA? For 2 decades plus, these monsters have been embedding themselves all across our country. And that is what we're about to tackle. And I actually brought that up to bring me to this email. I'll get to that in a moment. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful Monday. Remember, you can email the show, and I'll get to one of those in a minute. Jesse@jessekellyshow.com. And in case you're just now joining us, I was explaining, in probably a pretty lame way, that we have years and years and years of people who believe some really sick things, worming their way into critical positions of power. And I'm going somewhere with this. And now we're in a place where things are rotted. And because things are rotted, and we continue to discover things that are actually worse than we thought they were, we're getting disheartened and we're getting frustrated at times. And I brought up actually the FEMA employee. Remember the FEMA employee? This is a story that proves kind of what I was talking about. We have gross people who've promoted other gross people for a long time in various sectors in this country, most definitely the government sector. And now we have some really disgusting people in positions of power in this country. And, well, Chris, actually, he found the audio of the FEMA employee when, remember, she did the news cycle after the scandal came out. Remember, we had that terrible hurricane and people needed aid, and we found out FEMA was just straight up skipping Trump homes. Here she was.
And someone feels uncomfortable, we can't go to that home. If you have loose dogs and someone on the team is comfortable with dogs and another person is not, we can't go to that home because of safety precautions.
So you feared the Trump houses. The people on FEMA were fearing the Trump houses like they were fearing people with vicious dogs in their backyard.
Exactly.
I know it's a lot to take in, but these people are everywhere. And to clean them out is going to take a ton of work. I got this email. Dear Mr. Wright, we got to arrest 2 judges today, but it still feels like we're losing the war. Your thoughts? He's talking about the 2 judges from last week, and actually I have more on that. We'll get to that in a minute here. Does it feel like we're losing the war? Well, let me use another analogy, that I've used many times before. I've compared America's spending, I usually use it about the spending, to basically running a Dave & Buster's with the company credit card for years and years and years. All the beer is paid for, the music's loud, the games are paid for, it's someone else's money, it's just spend. So I want you to picture this gigantic 10-year party at Dave & Buster's where all the kids, all the parents, everyone's running free. It's not their money, it's not their club. What does the bathroom look like at the end of that 10 years? How much food is on the floor? How much stuff has been spilled, rotted? It's bad, right? Well, these people, these vicious little communists, have been worming their way through our critical institutions for years. And what's happening right now, and I really want to applaud them for it, is the Trump administration. You know, I've been hard on them, and I will be again. They are exposing it. And my sources inside of the Trump administration continue to tell me, Jesse, you can't even believe what we're finding. Jesse, it's so much worse than we thought. Jesse, it's so bad. Every single time they open a new bathroom stall inside of the federal government, they're mortified by what's staring them in the face. It's not that we're losing the war of cleaning out our institutions, of cleaning out our systems. It's that we are just now starting to address it. It's that we're just now turning on the lights and looking at how bad everything is. We're just now walking into the kitchen and seeing that it hasn't been cleaned in 10 years. The bathrooms, it's bad. It's really, really, really bad. And you and I, because we've had a complicit media and because we've had a lame, pathetic Republican Party that won't address the problem, even though you and I, we've known a little bit about a little bit, right? We've been able to scratch the surface. Oh, I get that it's bad there, but maybe not too bad. Man, when you finally take it all in, it's bad. When I tell you the bathroom hasn't been cleaned in 10 years, you may picture something bad in your mind, but tell me it's not so much worse when you actually have to stare at it yourself. Right now. Let's talk about the story out of Wisconsin, actually, because this is a great way to put this. The story out of Wisconsin, this judge. We have, because courtesy of the internet sleuths out there, we actually have this judge. Now, this is a judge, remember, she sprung an illegal on purpose from her courthouse. Listen to Pam Bondi saying what the judge did.
The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Why would she do that? Oh, I have some old audio of hers that'll be pretty revealing. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a Monday. Chris, I'm actually glad you just played some Queen. I have a story to tell you, pal. I'll get to it in just a second about my weekend. Get ready. Get ready. I'll get to that in a moment. Had a little incident with Ob. I just want to finish this up with this Judge Hannah Dugan. Because we're talking about how these people think and the mess we have to clean up. And I'm actually giving out kudos. The Trump administration is exposing it. They are starting to get to it. I'm not saying they're going to succeed, by the way. I don't know that it's possible to succeed in cleaning out this much rot in 4 years. I'm talking about what they're dealing with. A Wisconsin judge finds out ICE is there for a criminal. She grabs him and his attorney, puts him into her office and whisks him out the private exit and helps them escape. How could a judge do such a thing? Well, I'm going to play something for you. This is Judge Hannah Dugan. This is from a few years ago. Now, you know how I've been ranting and raving on the radio about how it doesn't matter what role they play. It doesn't matter what uniform they put on. They're communists first. Everything else is ancillary. Everything else is secondary. They're always communists first. You see the general's uniforms or the judge's robes or whatever and think, wow, surely with an important role like that, they're going to do the job first and then they'll do, some Democrat stuff on the side. Listen to Judge Hannah Dugan. Tell me, does she see herself as a judge first? Or is she in that role for the revolution?
The law is a real challenge in making sure that justice happens for people. It's transformative in people's lives, but it also, especially in the United States, it's considered a stabilizing force. It's something that keeps us on a constant path. The rule of law is how we address our social issues, how we address our disputes, but also how we grow as people. I, as a person who for a couple decades almost represented low-income people, it is due process that really equalizes those differences between people. Then we're able to achieve that equal justice that we are promised and hope to have continue despite our differences, despite our class differences, despite our racial and religious differences.
Does that sound like a judge? Or does that sound like a communist revolutionary? And again, this is one example. These people are everywhere. Local, state, county, federal government. We've educated generations of these people. And for generations, they've been worming their way into critical positions of power across the country. We are now becoming more anti-communist, and that's good. We're opening up our eyes. That's good. We're figuring out just how bad things are. It's good. All this stuff is very, very good. But as we open up our eyes, as we open up the bathroom stalls and we see what's been happening for the last 20 years without a cleaning, it's going to be hard to take sometimes. And it's not going to be fast, and it's not going to be easy. Cleanup is going to involve more than one bucket of water and a mop. Especially since we're deporting all the cleaning ladies. Nah, I'm kidding. What, Chris? It was a joke. I'm just saying. The cleaning crew in the building here definitely got wiped out. Trump definitely took them out. I know you're frustrated with the pace. I'm frustrated with the pace. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Now, we'll continue back on the revolution here in a minute, but I have to get this queen thing off my chest, okay? And I know you're probably going to think I'm a bad person, but here it is. So, my wife, Aubrey, she loves music a lot. Now, maybe you say everyone loves music, not like Aubrey does, which makes it interesting because in my house, I won't say music was shunned, but remember, my father, he didn't allow us to listen to music in the car on road trips. There was no music. The radio was not on at all. Don't think we were listening to talk radio. In fact, there wasn't much talking, period. Even when it was just him and me, when we'd take hunting trips or fishing trips somewhere, we're talking, you drive 5-6 hours, eastern Montana, going back to kill an antelope or something like that. Silence. No radio. No nothing. Now, I can't help but be my father's son, okay? I actually prefer lots of the time to not hear much music, especially when I'm in a car full of people. I'm trying to explain, Chris. I can't hear you talk and the music, and when I have to ask you to repeat yourself, I'm aggravated. When I have to repeat myself, I'm aggravated. When I have to elevate my voice to talk over the music you've turned up, it makes my blood pressure spike through the roof. I know I'm a bad person. I get that. I'm not as musical as Ob is, all right? I'm not as musical. So she finds this thing where there's a little 4-person, what do you call it, Chris? A quartet, an orchestra, a symphony, something? I don't know. It was a bunch of violin-looking things, big and small ones. That's what it was. And this was over the weekend, they were going to perform Queen music for an hour by candlelight. Yeah. And it was supposed to be in a church. So I thought, okay, maybe it will be at least decent. No, it turns out it's one of these devil-worshipping churches that had Black Lives Matter and Love is Love and all that stuff on a sign on the side of the church. So it's one of those real demonic churches. We show up and we sit there for an hour in the candlelight as these people were playing Queen songs. And I just wanted to die. And Ob caught me looking at my watch 3 or 4 times. What, Chris? I thought I was pretty slick about it. I would do like the stretch thing, and then I'd kind of put my arm, you know, you put your arm out in front of your, oh, did I just glance down? Oh, looks like another 15 minutes. I used every technique, but somehow she caught on to it. But she was in heaven, absolute heaven. This is the greatest thing ever. I think she almost teared up at some point in time. She loved it. But we were leaving. And I knew that I had a choice to make in that exact moment, you see. And I still don't know whether I decided correctly. I don't know that there is a correct answer to this. Because as we're getting in the car and we're driving back home, she says, I thought that was the greatest thing ever. I want to do that again, Hopefully they are doing other shows and stuff like that. What did you think? And now I had this war inside of myself, you see. On one hand, honesty's the best policy, right? Not only is it the best policy, not only is it morally right to be honest, but if I'm honest, then it really, really decreases the chances she'll ever ask me to do it again. But lying has incredible benefits too, of course. She's on cloud 9 at this point. It's date night. She's having a blast. She's got this glow on her face. If I just lie and tell her I had the time of my life, and she believes it, that's kind of the critical. If I can lie well enough that she believes it, then it will make her night better. It will help carry her to a wonderful evening. And I did both. Here's what happened. I told her, no, it was good. It was good. But apparently I repeat it when I'm lying. I guess whenever do I do that, Chris? I'm a bad liar, Chris? Am I really? Dang. Well, she picked up on it too, bud. Okay. She said, I caught you looking at your watch. What did you really think? And then I just came out with it. And I said, that was friggin' brutal. Brutal. You know what that glow she had? Gone. Disappeared immediately. I don't know whether I did the right thing, but I did what I did. Let's get back to talking about communist revolutionaries and calzones. But first, we actually have to pay a tribute to somebody. We lost a member of the Jesse Kelly Show family. Hang on. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful Monday. Of course, Medal of Honor Monday coming up about 10 minutes from now. Going to Korea for this one. That one's always spicy. Don't forget you can email the show, jesse@jessekellyshow.com. So much to get to. We'll get back to the revolutionaries and a lot of that stuff. J.B. Pritzker said something wild. But first, we have to do something a bit heavy, but I wanted to do it. We like to consider everybody part of the family here. Us, you, everybody. We're all in this together, aren't we? And when we lose one, family needs prayers, well wishes, things like that. So we got this email, and I'm going to read the whole thing. The subject of this one is passing of my son. Hi, Jesse. I'm writing to let you know how important your show was to my son, James Garrett Terhune. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but I think I'm saying it right. You read one of his Ask Dr. Jesse questions last year on the air. Garrett passed away unexpectedly and suddenly last Thursday, the 17th, at 44 years old. He had type 1 diabetes since he was 12, and the coroner said his cause of death was diabetes related, I assume a stroke or a heart attack. He recently bought your book, The Anti-Communist Manifesto. It was on his nightstand. Garrett lived a hard life, 25, don't worry, this has a better ending, stay with me, 25 years of addiction and homelessness. 6 years ago, he was arrested for maybe the 10th time, but this time it was for assault during a meth-stoked rage against another user over a woman. As it turned out, this was the beginning of a big turnaround. He went through rehab again, but this time something clicked and he realized he had no choice but to get straight. During his rehab, he found a discarded painting of Jesus sitting by a dumpster and felt it was a sign. And he still displayed this painting in his home until the end. His last 5 years were amazing. He decided to get a CDL. He found a job with a small company in his hometown. And for 3 years, he valued himself as a working man. 2 years ago, he told me about your show. And like him, I'm a regular podcast listener. In his Facebook profile, he has anti-communist in his profile. 2 months ago, he was able to achieve his ultimate goal of being a homeowner, and he loved to say he went from homeless to a homeowner. None of us know why, when, or how God will call us home, and we still can't believe this happened. I just wanted you to know, and thank you for being part of his amazing turnaround success story. If you choose to mention this on the air, you are free to use his name. And again, his name is James Garrett Terhune. Please, if you will, keep this family in your prayers. 44 is obviously sudden. It was sudden. But that's a happy ending, isn't it? I know it's not easy to lose anybody. And you never feel like there's enough time. I lost my dad at 69. He was 3 weeks shy of his 70th birthday, and I lost him. And I'll be honest, as I've been grieving the past few months, I've had plenty of moments where I'm like, man, why couldn't I have my dad until I'm 80 or 90? I'll see somebody who has theirs, and I'll think, I would have liked mine, but when is there enough? There's never enough time. There's never a date that I would have been like, you know what? I'm done with him. You can take him now. There's never a good time. But you will be with him again one day. And that is an awesome story. And I wanted to read this as an inspiration to everybody out there listening who might be struggling right now with something in life. And it doesn't have to be addiction, but maybe it is. Maybe it's drugs or alcohol. Maybe you're listening to me in prison right now, and maybe you've lived a rough life. Maybe it's crime. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's all you've known, what your dad did. Maybe you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy. Maybe your kid's going haywire. Maybe you are that kid going haywire. Maybe you're a kid and your parents are going nuts. Life's hard, and you can be down for a long time and then get it together. So don't think for a second that this is just this guy's story. You can get it together too. It can be hard, and it doesn't have to be tonight. Maybe it won't be tonight. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Next month, next year, stay with it. Your story can have a happy ending too, all right? I know 44 is young, and it certainly doesn't ease the pain of that family, but that story not only kind of got me, made me smile too. Kind of freaking cool. Guy struggles for that long, turns his life around. So please say a prayer for the Terhune family as they go through this, and you use that as a motivation to turn yourself around. Let's do some more emails, shall we, before we get on to Medal of Honor Monday and illegal immigration and all that stuff. This guy says, isn't discrimination illegal? Jesse, the Vest Kelly, isn't discrimination illegal? How is Washington State getting away with that home loan program? He's talking about the home loan program that involves forgiveness as long as you're not white. Well, isn't discrimination illegal? Look, laws should never be looked upon as things that will actually protect you. Because laws in general will eventually be perverted by evil men, and they will be used against you. Isn't discrimination illegal? Well, let's talk about things like the Civil Rights Act. We passed the Civil Rights Act. Why? Because black people were being treated like second-class citizens in the country. You can't eat here, you can't sit there, and that's wrong. And we knew it was wrong. And we had to do something to stop it. So you pass this law, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, and everyone celebrates it. How long did it take for evil men, evil women too, how long did it take for evil men to get in there and figure out a way to use all these anti-discrimination laws to discriminate? My point is not even about necessarily the evil people or good people or a law, this law, that act. My point is not that. My point is we're always trying to come up with a permanent fix for the problem. We need a permanent law. We need a law that says this can't ever happen. But that is not the world in which we live. There is no such thing as that. Constant vigilance is what we need.